I'm at the corner of Grand Boulevard and Maisonneuve Boulevard, and we're looking at the pedestrian crosswalk that brings us to the pedestrian overpass over railway tracks. And unfortunately, a fair number of vehicles tend not to stop properly, like this one basically just sailing through. And even at the beginning of this video, the car sailed through. The delivery vans, tend to be a bit more conscientious. I'd call that a Montreal stop. I don't know about that one. That's pretty iffy, and that one too. Okay, this person's slowing down, but that they're turning too. Although I have seen people turning and sailing through too. So yeah, not a whole lot of stopping going on here. There's one that pretty well stopped. And I don't, oh, last minute there. So yeah, it's an issue. And it's an issue I have brought up over 2 years ago now. And I've made a variety of recommendations for dealing with it, including putting in zebra stripe. Okay, this person stopped, but because there was a pedestrian clearly there, they did actually full stop. And this one did a fullish stop, Montreal stop. Well, that's a pretty good stop. So not everyone sailed through, but unfortunately a good number do. And that's an issue because, one day a car, or a bike for that matter, is going to run into somebody. Let's see what happens with this one. Yeah. And of course the bike sails through. Again, there's no obvious pedestrian there. But I have had situations where, bikes have came very close to hitting me. Okay, so Domino's, they stopped. He waved. That's good. That's good. So yeah, the delivery people, the post van, the UPS van, the Domino's, they seem to be more respectful of the traffic signs. So this sounds like someone's going to sail through. Yeah, what did I could just tell this was, see that? That's like barely stopping and turning right. So, amongst other things, I recommended putting into the zebra stripe pedestrian crosswalk here. Going back, starting somewhere in the order of 2 years ago. I first brought it up with the city manager of Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame-de-Grâce Borough, Stéphane Plante. Just said, hey, there's an issue here, and I suggested other things, illuminated stop signs and so on and so forth, even traffic mitigation measures, such as narrowing the lane. And the only thing that actually did happen is they put in larger oversized stop signs facing towards the east. But that's it. That's the only change that they put in. And the signs are quite high. You can see, here I'll zoom in a bit. The sign is quite high above the ground. And it's prone to be hidden by foliage on that side. The other side's not so bad. So even the larger sign, I actually suggested, once it became clear that they had put in these larger signs, I said, well, that's all well and good, but how about putting it lower down on the post so it's not so high up, so it's more visible at eye level to people who are driving or riding bikes for that matter. Well, so far nothing's changed, and that's well over a year now. And I won't say well over a year now, but about a year now, I'd say just over a year now, I raised the issue at City Council because nothing had changed. Like I had thought, just bringing Stéphane Plante up to date with things and making a variety of suggestions that he might just take care of it. It wouldn't be necessary to ask a question at a City Council meeting, but when nothing happened, I finally brought it up about a year ago. like towards, I can't remember if it was the May or possibly June city council meeting last year. And essentially I was promised, oh, next year, things will be different. We'll take care of this next year. Well, nothing's changed. So I guess I'll have to ask another question at a city council meeting and say, hey, what happened to the pedestrian crosswalks? You know, what happened to lowering the stop signs so they're more visible to the cars and cyclists? What happened to putting in a larger stop sign over there for the bikes? So there's a small, you can see it just behind where the bike is on the sign. You can see there's a tiny little stop sign there for the bike. So how about putting in a much bigger one and at eye level? But no, so far literally no change whatsoever. Cars continue to sail through, cyclists continue to sail through. And just before doing this video, there's somebody who's full. That's a full stop. That's even more than I'm asking for. Montreal stops are okay with me, you know, like if they slow down enough to be sure that everything's safe before proceeding, don't come to an actual full stop, I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is people barely slowing down or slowing down just a little bit and essentially just going right through without properly stopping and without even doing a Montreal stop, what I call a Montreal stop. That's my issue. And like I said, one of these days, I think someone's going to get hit, assuming it hasn't already happened. Like, it may have already happened, I just don't know about it. It may be that one or two people have actually suffered injuries here, and I just don't know about it because it doesn't get into the news or whatever, you know. I mean, it's not exactly going to be reported in the Gazette, or even the Suburban for that matter, if somebody gets hurt here. But my issue is, like, I brought this up starting over 2 years ago, and certainly since about a year at city council meetings, and I was assured by Peter McQueen that this would be dealt with, that this year, he said next year, last year, he said this year, or well, he said next year, i.e. this year, we'll you know, change things, we'll make things better. You know, maybe we'll put in that zebra stripe pedestrian crosswalk you're talking about. You know, maybe we'll lower the stop signs like you're talking about. Maybe we'll put in a mirror like somebody else suggested to me. I hadn't even thought of that. That was someone else's suggestion about putting in a mirror so the people crossing, so the cars can see if there's pedestrians, you know. Put in a mirror on the other side there so they can see if there's someone about to cross from the pedestrian crosswalk. You know, none, not a single one of my recommendations have been implemented. Not a single one. So, you know, they talk about Projet Montreal being à l'écoute des citoyens, you know, listening to citizens. Well, it's not my experience, is it? Taxi doing a reasonable sort of Montreal stop thingy there. And of course, when somebody, you know, when there's a row of cars and somebody does a Montreal stop, well, then the rest tend to also follow suit. So it's not surprising. Oh, that one's like, eh. So anyway, thanks, Peter McQueen, for nothing. Absolutely nothing, Peter. You know, I very politely brought this up, and here we are in end of May 2025, about a year after you said you would take care of things next year, and no change, nothing, absolutely no change at all that I can perceive. So yeah, makes you wonder, eh? Oh, look, he even signaled. He signaled. He sailed through, but at least he signaled. And you know, for the bikes too, it's fair enough if they don't come to full. I'm not asking bikes to come to a full stop. Just asking bikes to, you know, be reasonable. Don't like sail through when there's somebody there, like a pedestrian, you know, about to cross or waiting to cross. Well, that's a pretty darn good stop there. So anyhow, that's that. So some people actually see me filming, so they're more conscientious about stopping. Anyway, we've gone on about this for 10 minutes now. That's plenty, but I have to say I'm really not impressed with not just Peter McQueen, not just Stéphane Plante, who really, by all rights, should have sorted this out even before I felt compelled to ask a question at a city council meeting. But the city of Côte-des-Neiges, Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, the borough, I should say, of Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, the whole Projet Montreal administration. It's not like nobody else heard me asking these questions at city council meetings. It's not like the mayor and other councillors didn't hear me asking these questions. Here we are. Nothing. Absolutely no change. It's the status quo. This intersection has pretty much the same markings that it had back in well, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago. The only change since I raised the issue was putting in the larger stop signs, which are way too high as far as I'm concerned, and can be hidden by foliage on that side.